Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2025 be now read a second time. I've had the distinct honor of moving important bills in this House, Mr. Speaker, but from a person that is socially conscious of the needs of vulnerable people in our society, Mr. Speaker, I would say this is perhaps the most important. Mr. Speaker, in our country, we have various forms of social protection measures that we give out. Unfortunately, due to lack of proper organization by successive administration, we have a one-size-fits-all approach to social interventions across our country. And there are many conversations that are lost because our needy people, Mr. Speaker, don't have somebody to speak out for them. In fact, on many occasions, Mr. Speaker, the conversations on social interventions is left to the elite here in Nairobi, who can speak, Mr. Speaker, on these particular issues, who are, Mr. Speaker, articulate, have representations, Mr. Speaker, and nobody speaks for the needy. In fact, I want to challenge you, colleague senators. I'm just laying the basis, Mr. Speaker, before I move this bill, that you must take your legislative responsibility more seriously, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that you speak for the people that sent you here. Senator Eddie, my good friend, you are not sent here by very well-to-do people. I know the people of Migori. They're just as much like the people of Cheruiyot that I represent. They are standing on the wealth radar of the country is almost average, Mr. Speaker. And there are many things that we do as a country, Mr. Speaker. Forget about, I'll come to the social intervention programs, what we send to persons with disability, Mr. Speaker, to the social support program to those citizens that are 70 years plus. If you go to your county, Senator Beatrice Akinyi, and ask in a public gathering in Homa Bay, where you come from, you'll find that there's a 70-year-old who is in the safety net and they are being supported. Then you'll find another one who isn't, with no clearly defined process upon which this exercise is done. There's a lack of specific focus on this special category of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. There's even a very live conversation. This is the wrong time to have it, but we need to have this conversation as a country, Mr. Speaker. This issue of zero rating of bread and milk. How many of your constituents, Eddie, buy milk and bread from shops and supermarket? 99, if not nearly 100% of the people that you represent in this parliament, Senator Eddie, they wake up to take milk with a guache, nduma, or even without any quote-unquote accompaniment, if that is what your people call it. Yet many times when you have a conversation about the cost of bread, it is made to appear as if it's a national problem. Yet the Kenyans that actually consume bread on their breakfast, Mr. Speaker, they don't form the larger population. 99% of the people that many of us that come from the rural counties represent in this House, Mr. Speaker, that is not part and parcel of their basic requirements. Yet we are told that it needs to be zero rated because it's the food of the poor, Mr. Speaker, and therefore my constituents who are very poor, Mr. Speaker, they do their share in paying the tax burden on the country, but then that same tax that has been deducted out of them is used to shoulder the burden of those who enjoy bread and milk. Even if you are to move it to Nairobi, for example, and our cities, Mombasa, Nakuru, Eldoret, and the bigger cities, Mr. Speaker, what Kenya has not been able to successfully do is to stratify the locations and the areas through which those that need to benefit from social interventions from the government and support, Mr. Speaker, live and are able to access these services. Why should I, who live in a fairly affluent neighborhood, want to buy because the justification, if you read why, for example, bread and milk, Mr. Speaker, is subsidized at the same price with people who come from our informal settlements, Mr. Speaker. If it's a subsidy of some sort to help the urban poor, and that shouldn't be a problem, because we must be a society that appreciates that people are not at the same place in terms of their spending ability, Mr. Speaker. Is it not possible to classify so that those that benefit from these social interventions, Mr. Speaker, are targeted, and therefore we don't burden the entire country benefiting people who don't necessarily need it? Take the example even of the issue that we had a few weeks ago, examination fee. There was a big headline. President William Ruto has stopped payment of exam fee for students. And I dug deeper to begin to try and understand what exactly is the conversation. Mr. Speaker, you know the problem, the unfortunate thing with our newspapers, the editors, people that speak in the media, Mr. Speaker, is that we see every government policy decision through the prism of politics. And it's so fashionable, Mr. Speaker, to critique governments of the day, successive administration, but more specifically the current one, Mr. Speaker, for reasons that you and I know, but they are not very far from the reasons of what you said yesterday, Mr. Speaker, when you were interrogating the matter that was before us on this House, Mr. Speaker. And I was mentioning the example of payment of examination fee, and why, even as we try to shoulder the burden of parents that cannot afford to pay examination fee for their students, Mr. Speaker, is it not a given fact that there are those that can afford? And therefore there must be a basic understanding of how you separate those who can afford and those who can't afford, Mr. Speaker, so that you don't end up running a near socialist republic, because that's what we are nearly becoming. Every other policy nowadays, we are told, no. Free primary education was introduced, free this was introduced, without ever reverting back to ask ourselves, who is paying for all these free things that we want to enjoy in this country, Mr. Speaker? We are told, oh, these ones are demonstrating. They need a salary increment. Yeah, let's pay them. Another load shows up. There's a disconnect between our financial sense, Mr. Speaker, and the realities of the country that we live in. We are actually a country that is penny-wise but pound-foolish, Mr. Speaker. We believe that it is possible to ignore the cents, but they believe that the shillings, Mr. Speaker, will make sense. It's not possible from an economic perspective. And we must begin to think and reflect back, Mr. Speaker, on what is the proper way of rolling out our social intervention programs, Mr. Speaker. So that when we do interventions in the exam sector, we can have a conversation and say, those that go to public primary schools, for example, you are almost certain that anybody in this day and age who allows their children to go to public primary schools, Mr. Speaker, indeed need government support. But those that go to certain section, a certain categorization of schools and certain academies, Mr. Speaker, can do either with a full subsidy, with a half a subsidy, Mr. Speaker, or no subsidy at all, Mr. Speaker. And their parents will be okay to go about it. But we should not undermine the millions of other children who can benefit from these programs, Mr. Speaker, simply based on the fact that it's not economically viable to make some of these programs. And therefore, I was just laying the basis for us to appreciate that as a country, a time has come for us to have and be under the full realization that it is not possible to have a one-size-fits-all proposal on various social intervention programs, Mr. Speaker, and believe that things will definitely be okay. On to the specifics of this bill, Mr. Speaker, that this bill actually seeks to provide a framework for the administration of non-contributory social protection interventions in Kenya and establish the National Board for Social Protection, create a comprehensive legal framework to guide implementation of social protection programs that support vulnerable individuals and households Mr. Speaker. At least we have been able to map out the households. Through the Kenya National Population Survey of 2019 and the previous years, Mr. Speaker, you are able to tell what is the number of households that are in our counties. That's the data that we use for guiding, Mr. Speaker, policy decisions, just like the formula we've just passed. And therefore, this board that we are creating, Mr. Speaker, is to advise and to guide and to ensure, Mr. Speaker, that these programs are not run blindly. I had said previously in this House, Senator Cheruiyot, if you recall, that I will not move any other government bill that creates another board. But remember the specific nature of this particular bill, Mr. Speaker, that I said it must make sense. But I hope, Mr. Speaker, that later when we go to third reading, we can put in the transition clause what are the bodies, government entities that do this social intervention, Mr. Speaker, which must be wound up as a result of the creation of this board, so that we don't end up with hundreds of boards, Mr. Speaker, that duplicate their roles. We are trying to reduce actually the cost of running government, Mr. Speaker, and that cannot be achieved if we continue to have many, many boards, Mr. Speaker. But I have said that we need to make special exception for boards such as this, and I have laid the basis why this is extremely important, Mr. Speaker, to be in a country where social intervention programs, Mr. Speaker, are not rolled out in the form and the manner that they are rolled out. I believe, and it is my understanding, that when you create this particular board, Mr. Speaker, they are able to interact with Ministry of Education and ask them, what are these cost and payment structures? What are the support and capitation that you send to the public institutions that exist in this country, Mr. Speaker? And how do you measure so that you don't end up in a situation where you believe that it is possible to standardize and you pay for the entire country, Mr. Speaker? We must appreciate that we are not an oil-rich nation, Mr. Speaker, that we have almost run out of fiscal headroom to either borrow or tax Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. Yet the cost of running government continues to increase. And you can see the kind of headlines that we have, where people believe that it is possible to continue, Mr. Speaker, paying and meeting every bill from health, Mr. Speaker, to education, Mr. Speaker, to all these other things without some level of measure. And it is the creation of boards such as this, Mr. Speaker, that needs to be needs specific and ensure that we give. Additionally, this bill seeks to cushion persons in need against risks and contingencies, build human capital capabilities and resilience among those in need, promote the overall well-being of vulnerable persons. We know, Mr. Speaker, that one of the biggest signature successes of this administration, you know, we live in a country where when a government does right, Mr. Speaker, it is nothing. But wait until something goes wrong somewhere, then it makes headlines. One of the boldest decisions that President William Ruto took upon taking on the reins of power is the intervention on government policy on those that are in the social support program, the vulnerable and the elderly, Mr. Speaker, that actually they are paid before civil servants are paid. Previously, if you recall, in previous administration, sometimes they'd wait for 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 months before, Mr. Speaker, paying or getting their contribution. As it is today, Mr. Speaker, I saw the statement table here last week. It's part of the documents that I table here every other day. Month-on-month payment to the vulnerable. But we need to ensure that the amount that is being sent to them, Mr. Speaker, is enough to meet their basic needs, and all people that meet the criteria, Mr. Speaker, for being vulnerable people that needs to be supported, end up actually benefiting. And that is part and parcel of that. Social protection, Mr. Speaker, is essential to address poverty and all those things, and I have mentioned, Mr. Speaker. Specifically, under Part 1 and Clauses 1 to 6, Mr. Speaker, are general terms. Clause 7 to 27 provide for this particular board that I have mentioned and functions of the board, which include the Cabinet Secretary relating to social protection, designing and implementation. Mr. Speaker, I would like also to highlight the roles of county governments in social contained in the bill. Mr. Speaker, county governments will be responsible for implementing national government policies through county-specific legislation, what I had mentioned earlier. The specific needs of a certain category of people in Homa Bay may not necessarily be the same as those in Kericho, as those in Nyandarua, in Garissa, where you come from, Mr. Speaker, and all these other counties. Counties also will develop the interoperable county registries for social protection beneficiaries, ensuring that you can countermatch actually what the national government has and what the county government has. Remember, we passed in this House, Senator Cheruiyot, last term, the county statistics bill, because we said it's not just important to use the, what is it called, national statistics, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Even our counties need to develop capacity to develop their own statistics, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, Part 4 and 5, Mr. Speaker, are just the various offenses, Mr. Speaker. Section Clause 49 to 56 provide for repeal of Social Assistance Act, transition of staff, the things I was talking about earlier. With those very many remarks, I beg to move, Mr. Speaker, and request the Senator Senator Beatrice Ogola, Mr. Speaker, to second, because faced with the choice between two young men that are hot-blooded and allow